Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the market close. Well, we got ourselves a green day on the market. So not too shabby, not too shabby. I am definitely enjoying that. Um, we got some news. We got some steel news that we're going to talk a little bit here about probably after the bell, because we're going to want to get to stuff. But before we go anywhere, got to talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow is it going to be our first ever episode of This Week Conversations. So tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be live for 1 hour. It's just a 1 hour show, but it's going to be, I'm going to have a guest. I'm not going to have on the weekend when I was talking about this, I accidentally said Justin Bieber. It's not Justin Bieber. It's Brandon Beavis. Brandon Beavis is going to be on here, and we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about ETFs. We're going to talk about, whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about that too. Probably going to talk a little bit about Blossom, and I'm actually very, very excited right now about Blossom, and I'm going to show you guys something a little later with Blossom. Before we get to any of that, we are going to take a look at we're going to take a look at the market. So let me pull up the market here. Here we go. So we are looking at the TSX. We have it's not a great green day, but it is green nonetheless. They currently up 0.25%. And that blue line on the chart there, guys, that's where we entered the month. So we are currently up this month on the TSX. In fact, we're up 2.22%. Just to give you a number, if you needed a number. TSX looking good. We got a green day. Love it. S&P 500. I actually thought that the S&P 500 was going to be in the red today. Not a lot. I thought it was going to be a flat day, but I thought they were going to be in the red. But they have rebounded. They are up in the green, up 0.34%. So that is fantastic. NASDAQ is up 0.06%. So NASDAQ is pretty darn flat. That's kind of what I was expecting on the NASDAQ. And I will tell you guys, actually, before we go any further, let's, holy banana bread. I actually don't have it on this browser. I'll pull it up right here. I'm going to bring up the Discord. I have it on the other window, the window I'm not sharing. So let's just open this up. This morning, I did make a post over here on the Discord, looking at the futures in the morning, looking at the news that we had, the news that we had before the market opened. I made a few predictions on the market today. Let's take a look here. It was under general stock. Let's see, we got Paul. Here I am. All right. So I predicted a green TSX and a weak one, so not a strong one. We got that. Check. Off on this one. On the S&P 500, I was expecting a red, so slightly to the downside, but that one surprised me. The NASDAQ, I was thinking of a nice weak green. That's exactly what we got. All right. I also made a few more predictions here. Oil, I was thinking oil, we'd have a weak red. Gold, we'd have a weak green. And Bitcoin, I was thinking we were going to have around 120 by this afternoon. So let's take a look at these other ones here. All right, we're going to just jump ahead. We'll talk about these other ones here in a second. So gold, I was thinking green a little bit, and we got the 0.68, and same idea. I was thinking slightly red on the oil, and yeah, the oil is down 0.03%. So everything so far correct, except for the S&P 500. It surprised me and went green, and Bitcoin didn't quite get to 120. So it was sitting this morning at around 118. So I was expecting 120. Maybe it'll do it by the end of the show. We'll see. But yeah, not too shabby nonetheless. All right, let's back up here. We were on the Dow Jones. Dow Jones looking good, up 0.52. And the Russell doing really, really well, up 1.38%. Whew, Oh, guys, I will tell you right now, I am hot. We're having a very hot day today in Ottawa. It is a 42 humididex, and my office, the studio here, we're on the top level, and our air conditioner is just not hitting this top level. So I am experiencing all of the heat for sure. So I got my iced coffee. So I may sip from it a lot more than I normally do because of that heat, but nonetheless, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. So we did look at gold. Gold up 0.69, silver up 0.53, looking good. Oh, look at this. Oil just flipped to the green. So I guess I'm wrong on the oil. I guess I am now wrong on oil. Oil seems to be making a bit of a rebound towards the end of the day. And Bitcoin looking strong, and Ethereum up a full 7%. Oh boy. So let's switch over to the heat maps. Let's take a good look here and see what's going on. You can see there's not a lot of excitement here. However, yeah, I was going to say, we got a couple small things. We got like TOI. They're up a little bit, 2.95%, but not too much. Other than communications is looking pretty strong. Now, there was news that broke out over the weekend with our communication sector, and it's good news for investors, not so great news for users. So some of their prices are going up, some of their plans, and some of their discount brands, those little other companies that they own. So, things like Kudu and like that, some of those plans are going up. So it seems to have, at least vesting wise, seems to have worked out well for them. You can see Rogers up 1.66%, Bell's up 1.27%, TELUS up 0.40. So what can I say? Let's jump to the US here. The US, we can see a little bit more green coming. Tesla's having a good day, up 3.81%. And I'm pretty sure the other day, Paul told me Tesla was going to be up today. I'm pretty sure Paul told me. So good call, Paul. Good, Paul. Eli Lilly up. Look at Johnson & Johnson up 6.19%. Now, I believe they had earnings. I believe Johnson & Johnson had an earnings this week. So that might be what's going on with Johnson & Johnson. Oracle is up. Most of our tech is up a little bit. NVIDIA up 0.3, Apple up 0.5, Microsoft 0.05. Oh, what can we say? And then, of course, the crypto heat map. Look at this. A lot of green. Bitcoin up 2.34, Ethereum 10.41%, Solana 8.42. If you're holding that Solana spot ETF, you're probably having a pretty good day. XRP up 6.25%. Now there's a lot of different crypto coins. There's more than 15,000 of these altcoins. I like to call them crap coins because they're risky as can be. But we're having a green day in the market. So I like to grab a red one. Let's pick this one. I don't know what I picked. Kunji Finance. Well, hey. At least I picked a finance one. Oh boy, you'd almost think I had planned this. But yeah, they are they're worth about 3.6 cents a coin. I don't know what exactly they do. Something to do with finance, maybe, who knows? But I always say stay away from these coins. Stay away from these crap coins because you're probably going to lose money. Like, quite honestly, when it comes to risky investments, I would rather a penny stock than a crap coin. But nonetheless, there is a lot of money to be made in crypto. Stick with your big coins, your Bitcoins, your Ethereums, your Solana. And yes, even your Dogecoin, who's up 8.51%. Holy banana bread. All right, we're going to jump back to our main screen here, and let's hit the chat. Hi, guys. How are you? All right. Jim is in first. Hey, hoping to be there, but the internet for my cell provider not working all that great the day or so. Okay, well, I hope to see you. I hope to see you after this, Jim. But if not, you can always catch it on the replay, which is always fun. Speaking of Paul, here he is. RRSP plus 3% today. Is that because of Tesla, Paul? Is that because of Tesla? I'm curious. Jersky is in the house with a happy green Wednesday. We got the night bot. We got the night bot in here. So yeah, if you guys want a Friday, a market close on Friday, you guys know the drill. 4 supers or 4 whatever, for whatever. You know, it can be gifted memberships, you name it. That will get you a Friday stream. But of course, this week you might be like, we're already getting the Thursday stream with Brandon Beavis. So maybe you'll have seen my mug too much this week. All right. And Paul is saying SOLL. I was just talking about them spot Solana ETFs. And this one here is the Purpose. It's a Purpose Spot Solana ETF. And the .U pegged to the US dollar. So plus 9.7. So that was at 9. Is that 9.79%, or is that actually up $9.79? Actually, I'm thinking it's $9.79 because you've got over here 18.43%. Nice. Oh, never mind. It is percentage. All right. Forgot a percentage after the 9.79. All right, cool. If it was $9.79, I'd be like, what have I been investing in today? Cowboy is in the house with an afternoon. Oh, and Bitcoin, 119.2K. So close to 120. Yeah, absolutely. I predicted 120 for the day. So come on, Bitcoin. Get up there. Get up there. And we got Mary in the house. And guys, Mary is our unofficial, or actually our official captain of the like button. So if you've not yet hit that like button, you don't want Mary scowling at you. You best hit that like button. I'm gonna have some more iced coffee while you guys are doing that. Oh, so good, so very good. Rory said, "Hi all, I hit the like button." Well done, Rory. Well done. Jim says, I am kind of here, but all right, fair enough. And Paul says, in the basement, I got a blanket on my legs, warmer on the second floor, then even warmer on the third floor, 27C outside. Oh boy. And Rory says, we have smoke outside. I know we had smoke warnings here the last couple of days. Today I can't tell. I don't even want to open my window. Quite literally, if I open my window, it's about the same temperature inside. Well, in the office, it's the same temperature in here as it is outside. But at least with the window closed, I'm not getting super humidity coming in. Cowboy says the smoke is strong here too. Absolutely. Yeah, if you're in the West, I imagine it's pretty darn bad. Brian says, good afternoon, everyone. And Brian says, I hit the like button for Mary. Nice, nice. Guys, we do have the bell coming up at 4 o'clock, which is basically about 2 minutes from now. So just giving you that 2-minute warning that bell is coming. Jim says, I am happy it's not rain here. Yesterday was the first day without rain. Yes. Now we are supposed to get rain here tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. Johnson & Johnson beat forecast. That's why they are up. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Brian. I was thinking that. So good on Johnson & Johnson. I mean, that is a pretty good blue chip solid company. I mean, honestly, they make pretty much so much stuff. I would challenge any of you to say, I don't have a Johnson & Johnson product in my house. You probably do. Let's see, in over 2 weeks. Oh boy, yeah, that sounds like a lot of rain. Brian says, I'm about to bite the bullet and transfer my accounts from TD to Wealthsimple. Anyone know why I shouldn't? I am tired of the $9.99 fee. Brian, I think you should go ahead and do it. Now, I'll tell you something, Brian. If you don't have a referral code, there is one down below. If you use that, you get $25. The channel gets $25. So that is an option for you as well. Gives you a little bit of extra money. But no, I do like Wealthsimple. I think you'll be happy there, Brian. Rory says, nope. Don't want to get rugged on those stupid crap coins. Rugged. Yeah, rugged. Rug pulled. That does happen. Like, I'll give you a good example of this. When Squid Game Season 1 came out, it was huge. It was a phenomenon. So somebody decided, oh, let's make a squid coin. And people were just gobbling it up because of the hysteria, all the hysteria around Squid Game. Well, it turned out to be a rug pull, and a lot of people lost money. A lot of people lost money on it. So you got to be careful with some of those coins. I always say, make sure you know what the coin does. Read the white paper. If you're going to get involved, honestly, if you're going to gamble, you're probably better off to maybe look at penny stocks, because at least with a penny stock, you can look at the fundamentals and get you may not get a perfect guarantee that you're going to be fine, but you can at least stack the cards a little bit in your favor. With these, not so much. And Paul is talking about my 5-stock rotation. So Axon, HIMS, Strategy, Palantir, and Tesla. So yeah, these are the stocks that Paul's been playing these. He's been playing them cyclically and doing a really good job at it, I will point out. Rory says, Brian, I think we are all biting it when choosing a broker. Uh-oh, guys. I can't believe it. I gave the 2-minute warning and then I'm a minute late. I am so lame. Today. Oh boy. I'm going to blame it on the heat. Yeah. Early signs of a heat stroke setting in. That's why I was late. There, heat stroke fixed. Brian says TFSA 46K, RRSP 56K, RRSP US 37K. I do one at a time, 10 days to transfer, and they pay the fees. The only thing I would say, Brian, is when you're looking at that, make sure that they're not in a situation where they'll only pay the fees once. So if they only pay it once and then you do each of them separately, you might only get them paying the fees one time. So just double check to make sure, because if you have to move them all at once for them to pay the fees on the whole lot of it, then that might be a better option. But if anybody who has actually done some transferring into Wealthsimple, if you know the answer, like maybe I'm completely wrong on this, let us know. All right. Brian says, why did you leave Questrade, Rory? And let's see, Paul saying RRSP plus 3% due to Tesla and Sol.u and the others. Yeah, absolutely. Jay, I was hoping S-Day would go down at $21. So, yeah, so Hamilton yesterday dropped, they dropped 3 new ETFs, their Daymax series. Now, guys, next video, the video coming out on Friday. Now, channel members will be able to see it tomorrow. I'm actually going to look at the 3 new Hamilton ETFs. So S-Day, C-Day, and Q-Day. We'll be looking at all of those in that next video. It's exciting. And Jim says, I got some Q-Day. There we go. Absolutely. Rory, let's see. Questrade upgraded Edge without warning me. Windows 7, among other reasons. I can't use it, and their website is messy. All right, fair enough. I tried to set up a Questrade account, and it just never, it never finished. Like, it's still sitting there in a not finished status. So yeah, I don't have a good experience with Questrade myself either. So, no, not to say, now some people love it. Like if you talk to Adrian, the Canadian in a t-shirt, he loves Questrade. He loves it a lot. Brian says, yes, I get a lot of leg on their site as well, and it crashes. Oh boy. Maybe they bit off more than they can chew. There we go. Larry is in the house. Another victory for the Champions Eviction Company, ASPS, up 160% year to date. Coal Company, METC, up 200% from my buy. The people are thrilled. Yes. So those of you who don't know, Larry has his own little hedge fund of sorts. And, he's investing for a whole bunch of people, and he's been making some really good moves. I think the ASPS is absolutely brilliant because that is, an eviction company. And that's something that's happening as more and more people get in financial chaos down there south of the border. And that's probably not going to change for at least 3.5 years. So that's not a bad move at all. Rory says, I caught Questrade taking the other side of my trades using their buddies across the street for them. There we go. Ricardo is in the house. Good afternoon. ESP keeps chugging along. I feel so bad for not dumping more and more and more into it. Yeah, sometimes it can be that way. But at the same time, you got to be careful because sometimes a company can chug along and, and you're like, I'm just going to throw more and more into it. And then the badness happens. So you always want to be careful. You want to make sure that you don't over invest in something, even when it looks like a sure thing. Sometimes it's not. Paul says Wealthsimple doesn't have preferred shares and Questrade does, if that matters. All right. And Brian says, I already have Wealthsimple. I put my OAS in there every month, earning over 11% divs. Okay, very cool. All right. Well, at least as long as you're set up, that's all we need. Cowboy, very happy with Wealthsimple. Rory, I was comfortable with TD Direct. May look at RBC. All right. Oh, and there's the Nightbot again. And the bell. Yes, I know. I was 1 minute late. 1 minute late. Brian says, I'm going into more ETFs. Not sure if my existing shares in TD have any preferred or not. All right. And yeah, if you're going into ETFs, you're definitely fine. Ricardo, I am an Axon owner too. I have held my shares since $292. Oh, nice. Let's see. Larry says, bought Charlie Munger's Daily Journal, 1K shares for $390, now $398. I want to make a quick 30, 40K by next week off of it. Not too shabby. I have a feeling it's probably going to work out for you too. Rory says, is there an axe off? Look, always look I. All right. Ricardo says, I've owned Axon since they called it Taser and not Taser. All right. I think I pronounced both of those the exact same, but that could be a Canadian thing, maybe. Brian says, okay, I'll check and see about the fees. Is Questrade better for U.S. stocks? My understanding, according to, and this is coming, I think, from a Canadian in a t-shirt, they tend to be better because you can, it's easier to transfer money from Canada to US using, of course, the Norbit Gambit. So there's a method that you can go where you're not paying all those additional fees to move it across. So yeah, absolutely. National Bank also, you can do the Norbit Gambit at National Bank as well. And they have free US accounts. So I think if you're doing a lot of investing in the US and US accounts, then yeah. But if you're in a situation where, like with Wealthsimple, you're going to you have in total you have more than 100,000, so you'll have their Pro for free. That will allow you a U.S. account, but moving money back and forth, you are going to get hit with those conversion fees. So that's kind of one of the downsides. Now, if you're in a situation though where the stuff on the U.S. side is just pretty much going to sit there and you're not going to be transferring it back and forth between U.S. and Canadian very often, then it might make sense. Doorpat says, I transferred multiple accounts and they pay transfer fees separately for each account. There we go, Brian. That's what we were looking for. Yeah, that's exactly what I wasn't sure about that, but I am glad somebody can mention it. And Rory's saying about, Norbit's Gambit, absolutely. Let's see, Doorpat, did you do them all at once? And let's see, just stagger the transfers. And since they are different, TFSA and RRSP, you should get them separately transferred. There we go. All right. Life Adventures. Thoughts of AMDY Harvest and Enhanced High Income Shares ETF and HHIS. I love the Harvest stuff. Yeah. HHIS, I actually just did I think it was last week, I did a deep dive on HHIS, Cole's Note version. I love HHIS. I think it's a fantastic ETF. And what's nice about it is when you look at the whole concept of the Harvest income shares, high income shares, each of the companies that they do, each one is a single company. So when you look at the HIS and you're pulling in all of the leveraged versions, that is creating some diversification in there. And I really like that. I think out of all, I think they're all good companies and they're all going to be fine. But that extra diversification with HHIS absolutely, absolutely hits me in the right spot for sure. Zyborg, let's see. Axon needs to split. Would love to buy Leaps, but kind of steep for a single contract. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I can think of a lot of different stocks. I would love to see some share splitting on for sure. Cowboy said bought some HHIS. Give it a try. Maybe be a snatch and run. Ricardo says it's my belief that Axon will split once it hits 1K. Okay, there we go. I agree. I think I agree. I'd like to see that happen. Paul says, I use the Questrade Android app and just got used to it. Would be curious to know how many customers they gained from the February transfer promo. Yeah, well, that and they had like what was it, the guy who plays Harvey Specter doing commercials left, right, and center for him. So I imagine they pulled in quite a few new people. Mario says, good afternoon, everyone. I picked up the new ETF C Day. Next is Q Day once the price drops. All right, there we go. Yeah, and like I mentioned, guys, Friday's video, we're looking at those 3 ETFs. So Brian says, I'm also thinking about getting into HHIS. I mean, if you're looking at income investing, I think HHIS is a no-brainer. I think it's a no-brainer. Rory says, I wish I could have bought Berkshire 20 years ago. I don't think there's a single person here who doesn't wish they could have bought Berkshire 20 years ago. Yeah, that would be fantastic. Cowboy, those new ETFs sound like the names of Saddam Hussein's sons. Okay, fair enough. But if you like the dividends, they are going to be dropping. Well, you're going to get two dividend payments a month. So that's kind of cool. The overall 2 of them have a yield roughly around 18%. Then the other one, the tech one, is around 20%. So not too shabby. I'm really looking forward to watching how these develop. And if these are really successful, are we going to see some of the other, like, are we going to see Harvest jump in? Now, I think there is one other ETF in Canada right now. Is it BTCC? There's one of the new Bitcoin ones that also does a bi-monthly dividend. All right, let's see. We own 1 Berkshire share for 400. Oh my God. You've just become legendary there, Larry. That's awesome. I like that. Cowboy, we have to look at Questrade. Would like some preferred shares. All right, fair enough. Brian says, I've already paid the fees in TD and will not be converting any more US into the account. Maybe just putting it into Wealthsimple. And okay, Paul, if you are buying something that could be moving up fast, eat the 1.5% FX fee. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. If something is moving up fast, that fee is pretty small compared to what you could be making. Let's see. Had to surrender on the bear ETFs. We'll try again near September. I know. This summer has not been a typical summer. We're seeing a lot of green in the markets. We'll have to see how August looks. That'll be interesting. And then, of course, all of the fear is going to come out about September, because a lot of people always look at September as being a red month. And yeah, we've had some seriously red Septembers. We've had a lot of crises that have happened in September too, keep in mind. The financial market, so that financial crash of the housing market, that was September. 9/11, September. So yeah, there's been a lot of big ones. So September is a little more red historically than the other months. But keep in mind, it's skewed a lot further red than it really is because of some of the big events that have happened in September. Rory says, I also look at the trading fee ETFs, contain the ones I own and I don't have. All right, Roku is in the house. Hello, everyone. Any idea what happened around 11:35 this morning? Basically, everything in my watch list dove severely for a few minutes, then right back up when it was where it was. Got my low ball bid on HHIS. Fantastic. No, I didn't even notice it. But I was at 11:35, 5. I was finishing up my script. I was finishing up my script for for that Hamilton, for those Hamilton ETF video. So I missed it. I missed it. Interesting. I did not even know what happened. Yeah, let's actually just taking a look over here. I see that might be it right here. Look at this, guys. Let me just pull this up here. This is the Russell that we're on right now. But look at this. Around that time, look at this really big wick to the downside. So there must have been something. There must have been some stimulus. I wonder, was that on the TSX as well? Let me just chop up here. Yeah, you can see it here. Look, a little bit of a wick to the downside right in here. Interesting. I don't know what it was, but my best guess is somehow, in some way, shape, or form, Trump was involved. That would be my best guess, but I don't know what it was. All right, interesting. Yeah, good catch, Roku, and good on those getting those HHIS at a low amount. Brian, I assume you can open a US RRSP in Wealthsimple. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a thing. But as I mentioned before, you'll have to have the pro version. But if you've got a total of more than 100,000, you get it for free. Otherwise, you're paying like $10 a month for it. Rory, 10:30 for me. Was it about Trump's bill? That's what I'm thinking. Like something Trump did. I haven't looked. The only news I've actually looked at is I was looking at some of the Canadian stuff. So I'll mention this right now because I got it in the title. Sometimes I'll put some news in the title of the market close and I never mention it. But yeah, Carney came out today and mentioned that there's going to be stiffer tariffs on our international steel providers. So basically, the way it works right now is if you're importing steel to Canada, we'll look at that 2024 level. So the way it used to work is with once you hit whatever you imported to us in 2024, anything above and beyond that would have a 50% tariff on it. Well, now they've changed that. So now it's the 50% tariff is going to come in at, 50% of your 2024 level. The only exceptions to this is if the country has a free trade agreement with Canada, then it's at 100%. But for anybody who doesn't have a free trade agreement with Canada, at 50% of whatever you imported in 2024, you get a 50% tariff on that. So that is, Canada's starting to come out with a little bit of the tariffs. Now, the whole idea, though, behind this is not that we're trying to milk money out of other countries. It's more or less that we want Canadian companies to not use foreign steel, because we've got a lot of steel right now that we can't send to the U.S. with those tariffs that are on us. So the object is to try to encourage more Canadian companies to use Canadian steel. So it's basically the government trying to help some of our steel industries. All right, there we go. We covered what was in the title. I love it. Paul says today would have been the day to buy STRF as it had a low of 115.38 and closed at 118.87. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that would have been good. The 10% dividend, always $10 a share, is now 8.39% based on the share price. All right. Will the Daymax ETFs earn a spot in the 100K challenge? Not all of them. One of them, 100%, one of them will. One of the things I have been JEPQ. So I've been, I hold that currently in the challenge, and let's just say their days are numbered. And I imagine by the time the next one drops out, that one is I'm going to be selling that. And I'm going to be moving that into, into Q Day. So yeah, definitely. Rory says back to school ads will be out next month. Are they not? I'm surprised they're not already out, to be honest. But yeah. Jay says, I heard Windsor being hit hard with the tariff. Is it because they move a lot of steel there? Yeah, absolutely. Well, steel and auto, they're the kind of like that Canadian hub of our auto industry. So yeah, huge huge impacts in Windsor. Probably if you were to look at Canada as a whole, Windsor probably has the worst impacts from the tariffs out of any Canadian city. I feel confident enough to say that. Brian says, I was born in September. Sorry if I caused a bear market in 1959. No worries. I was born in September as well. So a lot of September kids for sure. Dorpat says, rumor was that Trump would fire Powell. That's what happened, but it was debunked. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of rumors about this. And I know that I think the last rumor I heard is that Trump was going to use the renovations that the Fed is looking at for the Bank of America, for the American Fed, as a way or a loophole to get rid of Powell. But I think Powell is going to be in place until 2026. I think Trump is going to have to deal with Powell for a little bit longer. All right, we got the night bot again. All right. So let's see, thoughts on my hospital and medical stocks. CSH, SIA, EXE. All right, so EXE, I want to hit EXE first. As you know, I just did the last video. We were looking at some of the channel favorites and how they did. I will tell you, if I had done 7 stocks instead of 6, EXE was the next one that was going to be on that list. So EXE, I love Extendicare. I think they're in a really good spot. You know, anything that's really dealing with the aging boomer population, that's there's just going to be so much money. There's going to be so many customers. So that also includes, of course, SIA, and I think overall, I think healthcare as well is going to benefit. I think all 3 of these companies will definitely benefit. All right. Let's see. Dorpat, a letter broke out that he wrote Powell's fire letter. Okay. That does not surprise me. So yeah, that could have done it. That could have easily done it. Now keep in mind, if he did fire Powell and got somebody in who he likes, you know what's going to happen. Interest rates in the U.S. are going to plummet. They're going to plummet. That's what Trump is after. We'll see that in 2026. But for now, I don't think Powell, I think it's almost a point of principle for Jerome Powell. I think he's going to hold in till he's finished, just because, you know, I don't think he wants to give Trump the satisfaction. So yeah, if Trump's going to fire him, it'll get challenged 100%. It'll be interesting. All right. Paul says, Trump now says Epstein list is a hoax, but pre-election, he said he would release it. Trump has been saying this for a few days now. Yeah, I mean, there's a list. Enough people have been talking about this list for so long that we know there's a list. Will it ever see the light of day? Who knows? Who knows? Is Trump on it? I wouldn't bet against him being not on it. I'll just say that much. Trump got yippee. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, if Trump wasn't on this list, I don't think they would be trying to bury it so much. So in this sense, I think I believe Elon. Let's see. Listen to Trump. He wants to bankrupt the USA. Some states can feel free to join Canada. Yeah, we could take like quite literally most of the US West Coast. So from California, Oregon, Washington, those would probably fit in really well with Canada. It'd be interesting. Once again, even if, let's say, California wanted to cede from the U.S. and join Canada, I think it would still take a good decade for that to even happen. If everybody was agreeable, yeah, it'd be interesting. I wouldn't mind. I mean, you know, then Canada would have a nice hot place destination within Canada. Right now, we don't. Cowboy says Trump is like a small dog, always yapping. Oh, yes, absolutely. And Jim says, I like my small dog more than Trump. Absolutely. Rory, just put a clawing cat next to Trump and see who is the real boss. I hear you. I hear you. Kevin Cass says, good afternoon, gang. Captured a great move with a D Pro. Nice. Nice. I imagine that little dip we had earlier in the day. I think that's what you're talking about. So not too shabby. Yeah, anybody who did manage to grab anything during that dip, congratulations. That's fantastic. Brian says, I've been doing maintenance and fabrication work at a company the last few weeks. They are going to work overtime for 2 weeks to get their scrap copper to the US. They recycle transformers. Yeah, absolutely. Like, you've got 50% tariff on copper coming in, August 1st. So right now, any US company that uses Canadian copper, they are probably putting in crazy orders. So yeah, Brian, I can definitely see that. If you work in that industry, there you go. As much overtime as you want, it looks like, or at least as much overtime as the law will permit. Jordan is in the house. Hey there, Candace. Hope you're well. Tell your cat I said psst, 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 psst. Which cat? There's 3 of them. But yeah, I'll tell them all, Jordan. I'll tell them all. Good to see you. Good to see you. I hope all is well. Larry says he can't fire Powell. Yeah, exactly. If Trump could easily fire Powell, it would have already happened. I'll just say it that way. Yeah, if he could have, it would already happen. But mind you, they are. So the Trump administration right now, they're already picking his replacement, even though, they have to wait till 2026. But they're looking to see who's next. Rory says JD Mechanics are making a killing repairing used farm equipment at the moment. I believe it. Let's see, John Deere, probably the #1 name in farm equipment would be John Deere for sure. Let's see. Berger says, all I know is that it is transitory. New farm equipment is crazy in price. Yeah, absolutely. There's something like if you're looking at businesses or possibilities to invest, look at people who repair things. Because here's the thing, between tariffs and the inflation that we're going to be seeing from these tariffs, and we're already starting to see it. We're already starting to see it both here and the US. Look at those people, because they're going to have, instead of buying a new vehicle and paying a lot of money, more people are going to choose to get their old stuff repaired. And I think that's going to be big for companies that do that. Larry says, all I know is that inflation is transitory. Yeah. It's here until Trump is gone, unless something big happens. But let's see. And Jack is in the house. Good afternoon. My Northland Power and Google looking really nice right now. Oh, that sounds cool. Cowboy says 1 million plus for a combine, not header included. Holy banana bread. That's crazy. Now, Cowboy, let me ask you this. Do you have any of these? I imagine you probably don't. But I've been watching some stuff on YouTube where they've got these ones that the self-driving, a lot of these self-driving farm equipment. One of them I saw the other day, I thought was really cool. Now, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't have one of these, but it was kind of this big giant, well, not a combine, but it was like it just drives over your fields and uses lasers to kill weeds. I was like, that's just darn cool. So what can I say? Rory, yes, they are. New combines are $900K to $1.1 million. How do farmers survive? How do farmers even survive? That's my question. Trump's marriage is strong except for a Stormy patch. Or Stormy patch. There we go. Yeah, Stormy Daniels. Or Epstein. He's back in the news. Let's see. Short Canadian copper companies? Well, that in a couple of months, that might be something. It's hard to say. I mean, I think there's a huge demand for copper in Canada too. But yeah, it's going to be, we'll have to see what this supposed trade deal is going to look like. Now, I know Trump yesterday came out and said, oh yeah, no, all the deals are done. I sent letters. And plus Carney said that we may have to lower our expectations. So we're going to have to see, but I would certainly like to see some of these, at least the metal ones. I'd like to see the aluminum, copper, and steel. I'd like to see those come down big time, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. It's no longer July 21st. It's now August 1st. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to see what kind of trade deal gets cooked in the books. I don't like him coming out and saying lower your expectations. That's always a bad sign. So, oh boy. Let's see. Jay says, I saw in the news Walmart is already testing a robot that scans and orders at the same time. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, yeah, because normally if you work in grocery or retail of that nature, one of the things that you have to do, and I used to manage a department in a superstore many years ago. But yeah, we used to have to send people out and actually take an inventory every month. Like, look at how many pens are on that, how many of pen X do we have? And then how many do we need to order? That's a big manual process. But if you could actually have robots just constantly doing it, my God, that would save a lot of time. Probably would also prevent a lot of shortages because, I think that would be fantastic. Larry says, look at Caterpillar. They rebranded to fixing things. Yes, good old Caterpillar. Yeah, and Caterpillar, I mean, you got John Deere doing all of the tractors, but Caterpillar, huge in construction, huge. I will say probably every time I see an excavator out there, I look at it and it's got the cat logo on it. So, but once again, yeah, if you're doing repair work, absolutely. Because I imagine, I would hate to know. Does anybody know how much a brand new excavator would cost? I'm kind of curious. I'm going to bet it's probably up towards $1 million. Only because now that I've heard how much a combine costs, probably not quite $1 million. Let's say 750,000, but I don't know. I'm pulling that right out of my butt. So if anybody knows how much a new excavator costs, drop it in the chat. I'm curious. Jim says, I fix broken stuff, and when the rest of the site off, I am still here fixing stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, if you can fix stuff, you're probably going to be one of the most useful people out there. Absolutely. And here's the thing: there are places like I don't see it as much in Canada, but I know it was huge in Florida when I was in Florida. A lot of them will have these underground markets where you could basically trade your skills. So let's say, for example, if you're a carpenter, you could be like, okay, well, hey, you know what? You got a little farm there. I'll do some carpentry work for you for exchange for some of that milk. Just little things like that. So kind of an underground market, and it's avoiding the taxes and everything else. Of course, the government can't be happy about it, but here's that thing. If I had a skill set, like if I could build things, and trust me, you wouldn't want me as a carpenter. I actually did make a birdhouse once. It should have been condemned. It was not good. It was not good. But if I had the skill set, yeah, I would totally be willing to trade it for other stuff. Why not? Rory, JD Cat Case, New Holland. I've heard of Case. And here's a funny story, guys. Tangent time. I'm gonna have some coffee. So when I got out of university, one of the first jobs I got was testing water at a solid waste site. So I had a small lab, basically in Lunenburg. I had a small lab where I would do all of my tests, but I had to go and collect my own samples. So I would go out Monday each week on Monday, it was sample collection day, and I would go up to a solid waste site. And they had wells all over the site. And I would basically just I had a little tube that would collect water from the well so I could get water samples from around the site. Fantastic. Well, when I first started doing it, I was hiking. I was hiking from well to well. I had a map and a compass because some of the wells were hard to find. But after I've been doing this for probably a month or maybe almost 2 months, the foreman came up and said, "Hey, why are you walking all over the place?" I'm like, "Well, there's no other way to get there." He's like, "Yeah, look, take the Case." And so it was like a small payloader made by Case. He was like, "Just drive that around." I was like, "Okay, sure, why not?" So I started driving this little payloader to get my samples. Well, now I had all this extra time. So at one point, I drove the payloader into the scrap metal yard, and I was like using the bucket to crush things. I was like, this is so much fun. But anyway, yeah, case. It just brought that back. So but yeah, it was a lot faster driving around for sure. All right. Brian says my sister-in-law, brother's ex-wife, her husband farms 7,500 acres south of Calgary. They have a few $1 million machines. Holy banana bread. Let's see. Cowboy says a lot of equipment uses GPS steering to avoid overlap in seeding, and the new combines have bushel counting software. Okay, there we go. Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the things too. This not documentary, but this YouTube video I was watching, one of the science channels, I was showing that by using some of the GPS on it, you could have your seeding very, very precise so that you don't have these little areas where you get double seeding in some areas and you get these little gaps where there's no seeding. So yeah, I thought that was absolutely fantastic. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. Rory says, I wonder if there is an AG ETF available. I never really looked. Good question. Nothing's coming to mind, but might have to look at that. I might have to look at that a bit later here. All right. Cowboy says that can give the companies like JD inside track on crop shortages and such. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The cash register should be able to track most of the inventory. You would think that, but you also have to realize too, one of the things the cash registers are not tracking, and if you have a high amount of theft, shoplifting, it's not taking that inventory into account. So if I was relying entirely on the cash registers, and somebody came along and swiped a whole bunch of those 4-colored pens, then I wouldn't have enough on the shelf, even though my cash registers might say I've got 10 of them there. I might only have 3 because somebody went and stole 7 of them. They got to pay nurses more so they stop stealing those pens. That's what I say. Bobcats, brand new run, 80K. All right. Interesting. 80K. I was thinking 750, so I'm probably way off. I don't know the price of anything. I don't know the prices. I know that Canada's having their own version of The Price is Right. If you ever want to see a contestant on that show that would probably do worse than anybody in the history of the show, throw me on it. Throw me on. I'd never make it out of contestants row. Honestly, I would just bid $1 every single time because that would be my only chance. So, or if I get lucky, the person in front of me bids $1 so I can bid $2. But, what can I say? Brian, let's see. I know excavator I worked on a month ago has a 2K welding repair bill added to the value. I did a repair. My weld held, but the steel failed. Oh boy. Caterpillar's weld failed previously. That is kind of crazy. Absolutely. Harvest is coming up. Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't harvest start like in August, depending on what crops you're looking at? Permaculture food forest is more ethical than traditional farming. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Just realized you had star tattoos. Those are cool. I do. The interesting thing about the star tattoos is, and you can't really see, you'd have to see me in person to get it, but they're actually color coded. So I had them create it in basically in the form of DNA, but out of stars. So you got color coded base pairs, and then it's also a double helix when you sort of see the whole arm. But yeah, anyway, tattoos. What can you say? Life's Adventures. NDM Northern Dynasty Minerals Limited has an interesting upswing. Interesting. Let's NDM. Let's take a look. I haven't actually looked at anything today. We've just been talking here. Let's see here. NDM. Let's see. Dynasty Minerals. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Up 6.44%. You are right. Here it is over here. I'm going to just pull back. Let's pull back to the 1 month. Now let's go back to the 1 year. Look at this. Yeah, they've been moving in the right direction. So this is a former penny stock. So right now, 314. I'll call them penny adjacent. Let's take a gander down here. I don't have any information on their EPS or anything. This is a Canadian stock, right? Let me just double check. Yeah, okay. because sometimes with the US ones, I don't have a lot of information. I will pull up their key data here, see if it gives me anything at all. Okay, we got a little bit. So they have very little debt, 5% debt to equity, but their return on equity, negative 80.19. It means that they're not profitable yet. But that doesn't mean, like, something obviously happened that they've been doing really well lately, and maybe they're on their way. But this would be enough here, looking at this negative 80. Well, it'd be enough that I probably wouldn't buy them. But if I was interested in them, I would certainly, that would be enough to make me do a lot more due diligence and research just to see what's going on there, because that does scare me a little bit. All right. Whew. Zyborg says, every time I see Zyborg, you know what I think of? I think of Futurama. I think of Futurama and the lobster guy. I can't remember was his name Zyborg or something like that? All right. Zyborg says, lots of great welding content on YouTube if you're into that. Guys repairing heavy equipment. They talk about the cost of new parts versus repair. Absolutely staggering parts costs. I'm not necessarily into it, but I'll put this out there. I will watch a video on something if I've never seen it before. In meaning that I will, like, I'll give you an example. There was a video. It was actually about a 4-hour video this one day. And this was during the pandemic, so we had lots of extra time. Guys building a house from scratch in the woods. I was like, oh, I kind of want to, I'm kind of curious. So I watched it. It was actually pretty darn cool. But they built everything, even their logs and their planks. They brought in the equipment. They did the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if my curiosity gets up on welding, I'll watch a video. I won't watch a whole bunch, but I might watch one or two. Let's see. So tired of Walmart getting rid of jobs. Oh, yes. But it's going to keep going that way. As AI gets more and more capable, then yeah, like today, I know I dealt with AI with Amazon because I had a recurring order, toilet paper basically. It was supposed to arrive. Now it told me that it arrived a couple days ago on Monday, and it wasn't. It didn't come in. So I reached out and on the chat, and I got a chat right away. And I knew it was AI because the fact that everything I put into chat, it answered immediately. So I did not. It was completely AI, but quite literally, within about 2 minutes, I had the AI sending me another box of toilet paper, and then it asked for my comments, and I did reply. I said, obviously I was dealing with AI, very efficient transaction. That's what I put in because that's exactly what it was. So yeah, it was fantastic. But yeah, I know that you're complaining that people are losing jobs. Absolutely. That's a problem when technology changes. And this is the history of humanity. A lot of people do lose jobs. For example, if we go back in time to the early 1900s when cars became popular, well, guess what? All of the people who worked with horses, a lot of them were like, horse breeders, people who do horseshoes, all of those people, it was just like, oh my God, their jobs are now gone. Obviously, they had to get retrained, and, instead of doing horseshoes, maybe they were fixing tires. I don't know, but it's the same idea with AI. As AI removes things, there will be new jobs that pop up. So yeah, in some cases, you may need retraining. But my best advice to you right now is, we know AI is coming. It's not going to come. It's not going to be like one day you're going to show up at work and everybody's fired. It's not going to happen that way. But what will happen is that if you are an employee who knows how to work with AI, you will last longer than somebody who is like, I don't even want to touch AI. So I would say, depending on what your job is, there's probably somewhere you don't have to worry too much. But, if you're in a workplace where AI is going to become a major player, get ahead of the ball. Learn how to utilize AI, and that will make you more valuable. So when they do start, downsizing, they're going to look at you and they're going to say, in this case here, Cowboy, they're going to say, that cowboy knows how to use AI. Well, let's leave cowboy alone. That's kind of how it's going to go. All right. Larry says, speaking of AG Bayer, there has been such a screaming buy. It's ridiculous. His a roundup for lowering the price through lawsuits. Yeah, I've heard some stuff about that. I have heard some stuff about that. That is interesting. Farmers have good tax accountant. Oh my God, yes. I mean, you have to have. I think you have to have good tax accountants if you're going to do that. And a good tax accountant. This is the thing. If you're running a business, you would be surprised the things you can write off. I know a fairly wealthy family. I helped them out one year with their taxes. And some of the things that they were writing off, they had a dog. They had a couple of dogs at home. All of the dogs' food, a lot of their grooming costs, all of that, they wrote it off. And I even said to them, I said, how are you writing that off? And they're like, oh, well, we have company assets on the property. They protect them. And now if you knew these dogs, if criminals came in, they probably would just lick them to death. These were very friendly dogs. But nonetheless, yeah, I mean, if you have a good tax accountant, oh boy, you would be surprised. You'd be surprised just how much you can write off. Another good example is sometimes with this family, I went out and, they were always treating me whenever we go out. We were like, oh, no, don't worry. We got the bill. Well, when I was helping with their taxes, I found some of those bills. It's like, yeah, apparently they were business meetings. So we never talked about business, but maybe under their breath, they mentioned business once. I don't know, but you'd be surprised. Rory says, I boycotted Walmart for years. Yeah, I can understand that. I don't buy a lot from Walmart. I don't buy a lot, but yeah, I can understand that. Like, I know it's one of those things, like before Walmart, I mean, we had so many good Canadian stores, but then Walmart came along. And when Walmart popped into Canada, and we're talking, this was like what, late 80s, early 90s, a lot of these businesses started just going under. I kind of termed it Walmartism, but yeah, they're coming in, they drive out because, Walmart doesn't just, when Walmart buys goods, they don't buy goods for one store. They buy goods for a lot of stores. So they're getting prices that nobody else can get, especially if you're a mom and pop shop. You can't get the deals that Walmart's getting. So you can't even compete with them. And that's how they drive everybody out of business. So yeah, I mean, if you can afford it, if you can afford to buy local mom and pop stores, even online, mom and pop, it makes a difference. It absolutely does. And especially now with tariffs and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Nothing wrong with buying Canadian. A Cowboy says store losses for Exide, the wages they think they save by not having cashiers. Yeah, I know. And there's a lot of people that are very, very dead set against all of the automatic cashiers. And I see it a lot, especially on Facebook. I see people posting all the time saying, hey, where's my wage for ringing through my own goods? So yeah, I can understand that. I mean, personally, I don't mind it so much just because I can get through it nice and fast, and I'm pretty handy with the scanner. But, I can understand a lot of people are like, I'd rather just go through a regular cash register type thing. So yeah, I can understand both sides of it. Jersky says most of them will be 1 million. Okay, are we talking about those excavators? So they are closer to 1 million. Okay. Interesting. The Borg of shopping. Resistance is futile. I hear you. Cat's biggest profit is from parts, steel, and steel wears out fast. Yeah, well, that's what I was kind of getting with that whole welding part. That it's the steel that's giving out, not so much the weld. That makes a lot of sense. Jim says BTCY been doing good the last week. Yeah, well, I mean, Bitcoin had a fantastic week. As you guys know, 120 is where I was predicting in the fall that we were going to see Bitcoin top out at this year. So we've now gotten up to 123. And I have said that I have said earlier in the year that I think Bitcoin might probably break through where I'm thinking. So I've seen a lot of predictions. I've seen people saying, oh, it's going to easily get to 200,000 before the end of the year. That might be true. but I'm not going to put my name on that. I think I'm going to, you know what? I want to say 150, but I'm conservative. We're going to go with 140 on that. So I'm going to say 140 as my new target before we things change. But here's that other thing. There are a lot of people now starting to predict alt season. So alt season, normally what happens in the history of crypto, Bitcoin runs, gets to its all-time highs, and then the alts, they start to follow afterwards. And a lot of people on YouTube have been really calling for the alt season to start up pretty darn soon. So it could be very interesting. It could be very interesting to watch. And we'll watch it on this channel, of course. All right. Brian says, I've been welding since 1976. I know a little bit about it. I'm a partner in a company. The industry is extremely slow at the moment, and everyone wants to pay yesterday rates. Yeah, well, you can't pay yesterday rates. You got to pay today rates. It's the way the world works. Rory says, I don't know the cost of repairing combine tracks in the field if they came off. Okay. Video killed the radio star. The Bugles. Not great little song from the 1980s, somewhere's in there. Video killed the radio star. Love it. I love that song. It's a cool little song. Let's see. Closing the business down next April, and will work part-time and probably make better money without all the overhead carrying a shop. But only 2 of us working now. Yeah. I mean, sometimes that's it. Just have your equipment, have, your acetylene torches and your, your propane, or is it propane? I think I guess no, if it's acetylene torch, it must be acetylene. Duh. But yeah, have your gas tanks and all of that and just drag it with you. Throw it in the truck. Yeah. Makes sense. You'll probably make more money on it. Brian says, no one wants to pay welders what they are worth, nickel and dime on everything. Yeah, well, if they don't want to pay, then they obviously don't need the work. That's the way I look at it. Good old Nightbot once again. Jack says, yeah, Jack's laughing. All right, CN Rail brand new ES units cost $3 to $4 million each, built in Fort Worth, Texas. Oh boy, that's a lot. Doorpat says, no choice but Walmart and Loblaws near me. If you have little kids like I do, they are more affordable. Yeah, it's one of those things, like sometimes you don't have a choice, right? If you're living on a budget, you don't normally have the room to sort of say, I'm going to boycott this store for, just for a matter of principle. Yeah, no, you're going to feed your kids. You're going to feed your kids. You're going to clothe your kids. You're going to send your kids to school. And sometimes you don't have a choice how you're going to do it. And Walmart does have a monopoly there. And the dollar store has a lot of cheap options too. All right. Cowboy says, Walmart owns nothing in store. You stock store, they send you the cash after it sells. All right. Let's see. Rory, I shop at Loblaws No Frills. Yeah, the No Frills version of Loblaws is pretty darn good. Let's see. A Litecoin is flashing weekly golden cross. Last time was 2021 when it 4x to almost 420 USD all-time high. Now some people really love some of these technical analysis terms. So golden cross, it's usually averages crossing each other, creating it. And yeah, and sometimes they do turn out to be interesting, but I've seen a lot of them fail too at the same time. So, but I hope you're right. I mean, Litecoin is due. Let's see. Brian says, I worked at Loblaws going to high school. Okay. Just have to hodl the line. There we go. 169,420. All right. Not sure what that is anymore. All right. Jack says, I'm ready for alt season. There we go. Yeah, it could be interesting. Paul says, Trump, I've been speaking to Coca-Cola about using real cane sugar in Coke in the United States, and they've agreed to do so. I'd like to thank all of those in authority at Coca-Cola. Oh, boy. Well, you know what? That may not be a bad idea. Especially if you're replacing high fructose corn syrup, that's not a bad idea at all. Candace, are you still holding FRU? So FRU, they're actually an energy royalty company. I do love them a lot. I'm currently not holding them, but I think I need to take a look at them again because I do like them. Why am I not holding them? Why am I not holding them? That's how much I like them. I'm asking this question now. A Jack. Let's see. All right. I'm going to skip questions to other people because, hey, you guys are just blowing up the chat. Brian, we use propane as it is cleaner and safer than the acetylene. Okay, I was right the first time. All right. I like it. Michael in the house. Hello, Michael. Hello, Candace. I am watching Mullen to purchase more as it was recently downgraded by Scotia. Any thoughts? Interesting. Let's actually take a look. Let's take a look here. Whew. It is getting warm in here, guys. I can feel. I'm sweating. I don't know if it shows on the camera, but trust me, I am sweating here. Oh, that's so good, so good. All right, Mullen. Here we go. Here is Mullen Group. So MT. It's actually funny. Whenever I see MTL, I instantly in my mind I think Montreal. I just think Montreal. But Mullen Group. I'm gonna just pull up their 3-year. Yeah. So they've been up and down over the last 3 years. So if this trend keeps up, this is my concern. If this trend keeps up, we could be looking at another correction before they go back up, unless there's some stuff I don't know about that's going on the back end. But on the bright side, they have a half decent dividend, 6%. So I've always looked at Mullen as being really more of an income play, to be honest. But let's go into their back end here for a second. They do have 86% debt to equity ratio. So, it's up there. I'd like to see it a little bit lower, but that's fine. Their return on equity, 10.81, return on assets, 4.91. So I don't think they would be worth the risk. I see them as being just a little bit risky. I think your dividends are fine. Like your dividends, I think are safe. But what I would do, Michael, if you're interested in the stock, let's go back to their overview. If you're interested in the stock, this is what I would do. We're going to go back to that 1 year. All right, well, actually, we'll go to the 3-year. We got a better look at it. Since we kind of know what pattern they're making, and look at this too. When you look at this bigger pattern, you can sort of see lower highs as we go. So there's a good chance if they have a retraction. So let's say they drop down again to like $12. Yeah, I would probably, be more inclined to pick them up at around $12, 12 to maybe $12.50, and then see if it follows the trend, they might then rebound after that. So I would say I would hold out. I wouldn't buy them at this stage personally. You have to make up your own mind, but I wouldn't buy them at $13.98. All right, Paul says working part-time, you pay income tax, CPP, EI, but with T. Yeah. Well, the nice thing is, and this is the thing, if you are working after you've started taking supports, particularly we're going to talk about CPP. If you have some bad years on your record for CPP, like let's say, for example, because you do get to drop, I think it's 8 years you get to drop. But if you've had like a 10-year period in your life where you didn't work, or you've had at least 10 separate years where you didn't work, then you can actually raise your CPP payments by working. So it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But the bright side is if you don't make a lot on the CPP and you're working extra years, it's not going to pull you down. It's not going to pull you down. All right. Damn enter button. Okay. Let's see here. I drink Coca-Cola, Paul. Let's see. I feel like I spend more money at Loblaws despite their point system. And let's see. Roy says, if I drink Coke or strong coffee, it's bad heartburn. Uh-oh. Let's see. I also own the stock. Holy banana bread. Guys, you guys are just absolutely... I've never been this far behind, I think, in a market close. Paul says, working part-time, you pay income tax and premiums for CPP, EI, but RRSP withdrawals, just income tax. Yeah, absolutely. Your RRSP withdrawals are 100% income. There's no way, ands, ifs, or buts about it. The only thing is depending on how much other income you have coming in. If you're underneath, your limit, because you can make a certain amount free in each province. If you're under that limit, like let's say, for example, you have let's say between, I'm just trying to think. Let's say you had $1,000 left in that cap. Well, in that case, you could pull $1,000 out of your RRSP tax free. I mean, yeah, it still will look like they'll still take the taxes from you, whoever your broker is, but you would get that back when tax time comes. And, in some cases too, though, I look at it this way. If you have a TFSA and you get your yearly cap, a lot of times it will make sense to pull at least just to get you back up to the cap, up to the limit, to pull some of that out of the RRSP, keeping in mind the taxes that it's going to generate, because then you can turn that into more income, tax-free income coming out of that TFSA. And also keep in mind too, when your days are done, any of that money in your RRSP, other than a spouse, they do get exceptions. But if you're leaving it behind to anybody who's not your spouse, they're going to get taxed at the full marginal rate on that. So that's just something to keep in mind. That's one of the reasons that RRSP meltdowns, one of the reasons why they're popular. All right. Let's see. Paul says, Brian, I only drink water. Okay. Let's see. Hope. Nope, haha, but my pizza stock gives me $15.40 a month for pizza. Oh, there you go. You might be the only person I know who's turning those pizza dividends into pizza. And pizza. I like pizza, but I will say, I find their pizza is very salty. All right. Do Canadians use AC? Yes, we do. We have central air. It's just not working correctly. It's fine on the front, on the lower levels, but on the top level, it's not doing a thing. Hence the reason I am experiencing a lot of heat. Also, I've got 3 monitors pumping out heat at me right now. I have 3 different sets of lights generating a whole bunch of heat. I'm pretty much sitting in a little bit of an oven here. Rory says A&W royalty fund was something I looked at in the past, never did buy any. Yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, I like royalty funds in general. There's also KEG. The KEG has a royalty fund as well. But I do think out of the 3, between the KEG, A&W, and Pizza, I think I like Pizza the most. All right. And yeah, we got AC. Yeah, AC is good. Let's see. July, August, we use AC. Then the snow hits. Oh, boy. Not so much here. We'll probably, September will be another warm month. So, and normally, it's unreasonably warm. Parts of June, July, August, parts of September. Once we get towards the end of September into October, then it's just everything is nice for about a month. Everything is fantastic. Everything's the right temperature. Not too hot, not too cold. Then comes November, and that's where things start to get cold. And December, oh yeah. And then January and February, it's like, yeah, it's like big heating bill because it gets cold. All right, Cowboy, we get June, July, and winter. There we go. Now, Calgary, I will mention this. Calgary is one of these cities that they can get snow any time of the year. I've seen snow. I've seen major snowstorms in October. I've seen smaller snowfalls like in September. I don't think I've ever, when I was in Calgary, I don't think I ever saw one in June, July, or August. But I've heard rumors. I heard rumors that sometimes, and of course, well, yeah, if you go up into the foothills. So with Calgary, if you're not familiar with Calgary, half of the city is in the foothills. The other half is in the prairies. So you could have pretty different weather on on the east side of the city compared to the west side. So, you can get snow on one side and it can be nice and warm on the other. It can happen. It's very interesting geography for sure. Brian says, I never bought that either, Rory. I wanted Little Caesars, but it's a private company. Actually, the interesting thing, Little Caesars. So Little Caesars has that logo, right? Pizza. the little guy goes, pizza, pizza. So they're actually, there was a little bit of a kerfuffle between Little Caesars when it came to Canada and Pizza Pizza. So it was kind of interesting. I can't remember the exact details of it, though. So I won't go any further than that. But I will say there was a kerfuffle. There we go. Rory said, had Little Caesars last Wednesday. Love it. Meat prices are crazy. Oh, boy. Yeah, I think they are here, too. I know last night, I thought we were having chicken, but it wasn't. It was tofu, but it was good. It was good. Brian says, my nephew's wife has a butcher store in Huntsville. They are not cheap. Those of you who are familiar with Nate Palmatier, he's been around here for a while. Actually, he's been on the channel a couple of times too, but he's got a huge family of 10 kids. He actually goes out and buys the whole cow, and then he has it all. I don't think he does all of the thing, but I think he buys the whole cow from a butcher, has the butcher cut it all up, and then he puts it in his freezers. That used to be a really efficient way to go. I don't know how much that is now. I need to ask Nate. I'm kind of curious. Michael says, many thanks for your comments regarding Mullen. If I purchase now, I would actually be averaging up as opposed to down. And yes, I hold it for income. Okay. Well, holding it for income is good, but I do think you're going to be coming up to a point where you might be able to average down a little bit. So keep that in mind in regards to Mullen. All right. Let's see. I wanted to buy some Canco gas station stock, but it's private. Yeah, you got to love that. There's a lot of companies, good companies out there that are private for sure. Do you have used? All right. You have to use your app to use Loblaw's point system well. It's been good to me. Brian says, I use PC credit card and pay it off all the time. Every dollar is points. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're using, I'll give you another example too. If you don't want to use a credit card for points, you can use something like if you have an EQ bank account, they have a cash card, and it's just like a credit card, except for you have to put the money on it. But they have cash back on it, and you can make some half decent cash back on that as well. So that's just another little option there. Brian says, I use the same at Freshco and Walmart. Rory, I wonder, Candace, if you'll talk about Mark Carney's conflict of interest on Sunday. So, yes, I've heard a lot of things lately. I know we're talking about some of the stocks that he is holding. I will say this. I think I heard something. I don't know if it was Polyev. I think it might have been Polyev saying that he should sell it all and then just sit on that cash until he's finished doing what he has, because apparently the blind trust that it's in is being run by I believe it's people who work at at Brookfield. But yeah, I haven't looked too much more into it, Rory, but I'll take a look. I've only got 2 news stories so far done for the Sunday show. So we'll take a look. Is it? Guys, I was predicting it would get back to 120 today. So let's take a look. I kind of like, I already have it up. Where is Bitcoin? Almost. Yeah, look at that. 119,979. That's pretty darn close. Actually, it wicked up. It wicked up to 120. So, or wait a minute. No, that's not it. This is it. Let's get on the right. Yeah, it did wick up to 120. All right, there we go. I'm happy. The only one that did not follow my prediction today. Oil came back to the red. I did predict it would be just below 0. The other one, the one that did beat me, is the S&P 500. I thought they were going to be just under the 0 line. I thought they were going to be slightly red. So, but yeah, pretty cool. Carnage and ethics. Mark Carney is like the Canadian Nancy Pelosi. Oh, well, there we go. We need an account that tracks his investments. Actually, most of us don't even know he hasn't really made his investments public. So Brian says, also Canadian Tire Triangle card for extra points. Liberal Guide to Corruption Standards, a mandatory read for all Ottawa politicians. Now, just one thing I will say, though, is if you look at Mark Carney, he's not really... He's not a typical carbon copy or, carbon cutout liberal. He's a lot more like the old progressive conservatives. So he does lean a little right. He's leaning the party more right than they have in a long time. Like, I know I was watching an interview with Pierre. Was it yesterday? It might have been yesterday. And he was talking about how he wants to work with them. He's like, I want to work with the liberals. Let's take care of all of these issues. And I was just like, I never thought I would ever hear the conservatives say that. But that goes both directions. If the conservatives were in power, I would be surprised to hear the liberals say that. But I would love to see that. I would love to see all the parties come together and let's just take care of all of this tariff crap and do what we can as a group. So, obviously, that too, I think would be most productive. All right. Max has just entered the house with a good afternoon. Oh, all right. And let's see. Brian says, I had the keg I got put of them after COVID. The numbers were just not coming back. Let's see. 21 degrees Celsius and smoke. Not great. Not great. Jay says, I don't know people know this, but Canadian Tire have options to pay utility bills and property tax. It's good when you have monthly dividends. Nice. All right. Let's see. Paul says, in BC, I'm under 57,375 with DB pension income splitting. With the 20K part-time, still have some room under 57. All right, was going to wait 64 to convert RRSP to RIF, then split the RIF with wife. There we go. Yeah, income splitting, guys. If you're in that position to do it, you can save yourself a lot of taxes. Actually, I do have a video on it. But yeah, you can save a lot of taxes. Paul's doing it right for sure. Wow, thinking tofu was chicken is a good cook. Yeah. Well, there was a lot of other stuff in it too. Like there was some spinach and some corn and a little bit of hot spices. So yeah. Zyborg says, I hear that you can pay property tax bills through Canadian Tire MasterCard as a bill payment and get Canadian Tire points for doing it. That's like 6 to 5K annual spend. Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. Calgary, Chinook City did a 10-hour shift, started at +9, ended at -35. Felt sorry for the two guys who wore shorts to work. Yes. I mean, a Chinook can blow in really fast in Calgary, and it can blow out just as fast. So you always want to be prepared for both ends of the spectrum. So those of you who are not familiar with Chinook, so what a Chinook is, it's basically it's wind that comes down off the Rockies, and the friction between the wind and the mountains warms it up. So you get this warm wind that comes in, and it can drastically change the temperature in Calgary. Now, the word Chinook itself is actually a native word that means snow eater. So it's a very appropriate word. But yeah, you can see this and going in both directions. I mentioned on Sunday that I left once downtown Calgary, headed east on the C train. But when I got in the C train, it was like -30, somewhere in that vicinity. And when I got off the C train, it was like +2, +3. I mean, it was just absolutely crazy. And quite literally, I was on the train for 15, maybe 20 minutes. So yeah, it can get interesting for sure. Let's see. And Brian says, I didn't know that. That's about the Canadian Tire card. Let's see, more than just tires. Absolutely. Let's see, Solana, almost $175 USD. Yeah, Solana's having a pretty good day. Well, hey, take a look over here. Solana up 8.74% over here. Bitcoin 2.5, Ethereum 10.59. Yeah, this is just, we're having a very good day when it comes to crypto, for sure. All right. Whew. Paul says, in BC, at the age of 55 plus, you can defer your property taxes. Ooh, interesting. You only get interest added to your owing balance, but never interest on the interest. We have not decided to defer property taxes so far. Well, it sounds like it might be something to play somewhere down the road. Rory says, Edmonton doesn't have Calgary's weather problem. It has other problems. Yes, Edmonton. You see, the thing is, Calgary is closer to the Rockies than Edmonton is. So any kind of friction coming off the mountains to the west of Edmonton, it's just not making it there. So yeah, Edmonton, you're going to face the cold pretty much the entire winter. So, although I wonder if you could get a strong enough Chinook to reach Edmonton. I don't think you can, but anybody in Edmonton, if you can, let me know. And the other interesting thing, guys, just going back to Chinooks in Calgary, when you're in Calgary, you will know that there's a Chinook, because when you look to the mountains to the west, you'll get this thing called the Chinook Arch. So it's basically a line of clouds that's a giant arch above the mountains, and then underneath those clouds is clear. It's clear sky. It looks pretty distinctive, and it's very cool. Once you've seen one, you'll know exactly. It'll be your favorite thing to see, unless of course you really like the cold. Then you're going to be like, oh no, things are going to melt. Also, interesting thing too. A lot of the side streets in Calgary in the winter, they don't plow. And the reason they don't plow is they get Chinooks regular enough that the Chinooks will come in and melt all the snow off those streets. So they save a lot of their their plowing budget because of them. And Tom is in the house. Says, pay all my bills with the Canadian Tire card. There we go. All right. Sorry, I meant Edmonton has Vancouver problems. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean, but hey, why not? Damn liberals. Oh, is that the problem? Isn't Edmonton City Center NDP? That I don't know. All right. BC and Vancouver is NDP. Oh my God, guys, I've caught up. How did that happen? We had Chinooks at Slave Lake. Ooh, now that's interesting. They must have been pretty, well, I don't know how close Slave Lake is to the Rockies. I would have to be a little more familiar with that northern geography, but that's very interesting. Let's see. Sockeye open on the Skeena now. All right, guys, we're pretty close to the end. We've been going for an hour and a half. Holy banana bread. These normally don't go this long. If you got your last minute questions, get them in. We're not going to be here that much longer. I'm running. Well, it's not that I'm running out, but I think I want to top up my iced coffee for sure. Now, guys, also keep in mind, tomorrow night, 4 p.m. Eastern, we will have Brandon Beavis here. So me and Brandon, this week conversations, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, including Blossom. You know those features on Blossom? I'll show you guys. Right now. I'll just give you a hint. All right. Do you remember how I could not edit my portfolio on Blossom? Guess what? It's now active. It's now active on the Blossom desktop. So you can edit your portfolio. You can manually add your stuff to it as well. So yeah, it is now fully active. I'm very, very happy about it. We're gonna talk definitely about that tomorrow. I'm very happy that Brandon got this. Brandon and the Blossom team got this taken care of before that live stream, because I was gonna give him some heck. I was gonna give him some heck if it wasn't up and running. So definitely good. So EMB and TRP, what's your opinion? I like utility companies, and I think, as you know, we haven't even seen the turmoil in the economy that's coming, but if we do get a recession, if we do get a bear market, I think they're going to be some pretty good stocks. I think they're going to hold on a little bit better, because people are still going to need utilities as all the chaos comes. So I'm still very bullish on utilities as a whole. Enbridge, absolutely one of my favorites for sure. All right, Paul says Brandon went mostly ETFs. Yes, he did. Well, we can ask him about this tomorrow. Here's the thing, guys. I will warn you. I'm not going to have time tomorrow to read everything that goes in the chat. However, if you got a question tomorrow, if you got a question that you want me to read or ask Brandon, just use the super chat function. I think the lowest it'll let you do is 99 cents, but you know what? I'm going to definitely do those for sure. If you're a channel member, all right? If you're a channel member, you've got that free channel member chat thing. You get one of them a month. So I'm going to count those as super chats tomorrow as well. So if you're a channel member, you can send that little thing. It's just you go into the same place you would go to do a super chat, but there's one in there called channel member. What is it called? Let me just take, well, here, you know what? I'm just going to take a look and see what it's called here. Yeah, when you go into super chat, there is, oh boy, where the heck is it? All right, I'm not I'm not a channel member of myself. It won't show me. But yeah, there is that one option in there that you can do a channel member one. It doesn't cost you anything. It'll come up highlighted just like a regular super chat. So if you are a channel member and you got questions tomorrow, use that. Use that. I will treat that. I will treat that exactly like a super chat. All right. Brian says, I joined Blossom yesterday, started to follow a few. How do you see your following list? All right. Let's take a look and see here. Give me a second. I need to get back to it. All right. So this here is I know how to do it on the thing. I just wonder here. Profile sign out. No, I don't know if I can do it yet on the desktop. We may have to ask Brandon about that tomorrow. I know you can see it on the desktop. You can just by clicking on your followers, you should be able to bring it up. That might be a feature they haven't yet added, but it'll get added because I'm going to bug them about it. Because yeah, I know right now I've got 1,222 followers. This is one of the things. Oh, Brian, make sure you follow me because I will follow you back. Because here is the list. Like this is what I do when I go on to Blossom. I don't look through the main list. I go to the people who are following me and I look at what they're posting. And I will come down here. Oh, here's somebody who followed me. There we go. Andrea, hi. I'm attempting. There we go. I'm now following Andrea back. So I definitely, oh, you are? Okay, good. That's what I wanted to see. Brian saying, yeah, I'm one of your followers. All right, good. Will he be singing his greatest hits? No, it's Brandon Beavis, not Justin Bieber. I would not want Justin Bieber on the show. He's probably the last person I would want you guys to ever get any kind of investing advice from. Not to say he's bad. I just don't have that faith. I don't have that faith. If you are a Blossom shareholder, you can add your shares to the profile too. Love that. Yeah, absolutely. Nope, Blossom still cannot add manual portfolio. Rory, look, Rory. Just give me a second here. Let's go back over here. If I come here to add investments manually, it's letting me, like I can pick a stock to add. No, these are the ones. These ones are ones I'm already holding, but I could, let's say I was going to add, Q-Day. So here's Q-Day right here. So I can add, so I would put in one share, let's just say, and I would have to add in whatever my buy price is. I'm just going to put this in for now. We'll remove it right away. All right, National Bank, TFSA, and save. And there we go. It's now in there. And, initially you'd have 0 there, but you can add each one. Now, I need to edit the portfolio because I did not yet pick up the, where is it at here? Q. I would like to see these done alphabetically. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to edit that holding. I'm just going to, you see in the other one, they have a thing there. I'm just going to save it as a 0. Oh boy, that may not let me. Maybe I can't remove it. Over on the normal app, I actually have a little garbage can for that. Unless, let me just see here. Edit. Oh, you can do it this way by delete holding. Here we go. Are you sure? Yeah. But yeah, you can add it. It does work. We just did it. All right. Let's see. Maybe I'm doing something wrong using the desktop. No profile picture yet. Okay. No, fine. No, fine. No, that's fine. Cowboy Q-Day distribution. I love it. I can't wait. Let's see. I added manual portfolio with the app there. Doorpad has done it. I will wait until after I transfer my TD accounts. Okay. It's not there under edit portfolio. Have to link only. Okay. Interesting. I'm not going to do another. I won't do another one, but you know what? On Sunday show, I'll bring this up again, and maybe we'll even do it tomorrow with Brandon. We'll see where that goes and what type of questions you guys have. All right, guys. Holy banana bread. Before I melt completely away, thank you guys for coming out today. You guys have been awesome as usual. We will be back here tomorrow. It doesn't look like we have a Friday show, so we'll all have a good weekend. But we will be back again, of course, on Sunday. And look out for this video coming up. Well, tomorrow for channel members, Friday for everybody else. We're going to look at those 3 ETFs coming out there from Hamilton, the Day Max. Exciting. Those are very exciting. Until then, guys, we'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. You guys, me guys, and Brandon guys. There we go. All right. Take care, everyone.